10:01, good morning. Broadcasting from the Mint Gaming Hall 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Lucas Panzika. The Titans are off today, back at it tomorrow. Joint practice against the Chicago Bears ahead of the preseason finale this weekend. We will be out there broadcasting live tomorrow. In other NFL news, Buccaneers rookie pass rusher Reuben Bain Jr. suffered an AC sprain, but he is expected to be ready week 1. In college sports news, the SEC has joined the Big Ten in its unanimous opposition to athletes leaving for professional sports and returning to college teams. The SEC putting out a new conference rule giving Commissioner Greg Sankey full authority to enforce it, quote, with penalties that are yet to be officially announced from the conference. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Welcome back to the show. Welcome into the show on this Wednesday. We are going to do Dolly Parton music all day long for obvious reasons. About, I don't know, Lucas, maybe 3 minutes after we got off the air yesterday, the statement from the Parton family that Dolly Parton had passed at 80 years old. I don't get caught up by celebrity deaths very often, and not to say that there aren't people of, import or fame or fortune who have passed in the last couple of years that haven't had incredible impacts in all different manner of things, but Dolly Parton is a different entity unto herself. That hit me almost the same way that Mac passing hit me yesterday, even though I have never even been even remotely close in proximity to this woman in my entire life, but I feel like she has been a part of all of our lives for the entirety of our lives in some form or fashion until her passing yesterday. Dealing with a brief battle with cancer that nobody knew about until yesterday. She did have the health scare that caused her to cancel her Vegas residency, and then somebody made like an AI picture of Reba McEntire at her grave. And Dolly came back, this was like 6 months ago, 8 months ago, saying, no, I'm not dead. I'm very much not dead. I've just got some treatment, staying close to home. All these kind of things. Didn't disclose that she was dealing with a cancer diagnosis, but passed yesterday in Nashville at 80 years old. It's just one of those. It's one of those that hits you in waves, right? Because the news itself, I think, is initially shocking, that there is going to be a world without Dolly Parton in it. And then you think about the people who will come into this world who will never know a world with Dolly Parton in it. And that may be dramatic or may sound dramatic. I don't think that it is. I don't know that there is somebody who was such a perpetual force for good at every turn for no other reason than she felt like it was the right thing to do at every turn and on the right side of history through so many different parts of American history and music history. You can't believe the impact, the philanthropic impact, the community impact, the entertainment impact. How many people got an opportunity because Dolly Parton was willing to lend herself to their cause or to their song or to whatever it was that was their passion project, their dream, simply because she felt like it was the right thing to do. And so many people, especially at that level, because there's only so many people at that level, can't be bothered or won't be bothered.
Yeah, the world is worse off today. There's not that, that should be reserved, I think, for a select people, and Dolly was one of those people, man. This was so gutting. Some celebrity deaths, like you said, hit people differently. I think Robin Williams was one that got a lot of people, especially, the joy he brought to people and the way it ended. Like for me, Mac Miller dying so young and being a big fan of his, but this is like in a different stratosphere. Especially anybody that either is born in Tennessee, raised in Tennessee, lives in Tennessee for any stretch of time, especially understands. But it's also just how worldwide. I mean, Dolly is worshipped everywhere. We were talking yesterday, Will and I, with Tony Husband of Apple TV, and he was telling us just how idolized she is in the UK and in England. Just universal. One of the greatest humans to ever walk the earth. The greatest East Tennessean of all time. Possibly the greatest Tennessean of all time, just from a pure humanity standpoint. She always had the right thing to say. Like, Dolly was asked about any controversial topic in the history of her 80 years, right? Whether it was COVID, racism, anything. And she just always had the right thing to say that wouldn't anger anybody, would have everybody on both sides listening and saying, oh, yeah, no, that's the right perspective. Truly just an untouchable human. That one hurt. That one really hurt. And I hope a lot of us were just listening to Dolly all day yesterday, because it is just an endless stream of just beautiful sound, man.
Well, that's the thing and you hate that you hate that it takes a tragedy to revisit some of it. But I'm telling you, I lost hours yesterday just reading and scrolling and watching and listening, because again, her career spans back to the 1960s. There are so many different phases of music that she impacts, and to your point, cultural moments that she is a fixture of, like the story about I Will Always Love You and the fact that Elvis wanted to record it. And because what's Elvis's manager, famous bad guy, Colonel Tom Parker or something like that? Colonel Parker wanted, I can't remember exactly what it was, but the percentage, but it was like half of what it was going to earn. They weren't going to record the song unless Elvis got half, pretty much. And Dolly is at a stage of her career where that's her only copyright. And of course, she can't give over half of her only thing, no matter how awesome it would be to be a Tennessee musician whose song that Elvis wants to record, and the roundabout way that she made a good business decision, even though it probably caused her great professional, emotional anguish to pass up on that initial opportunity, and what that song became for both her and Whitney Houston and so many other people once Whitney Houston got the opportunity to record it as a result of, what was that movie in 1992? I'm blanking on the actor's name. This is going to drive me crazy. Yellowstone.
Kevin Costner,
the Bodyguard. The Bodyguard. Kevin Costner wants Whitney Houston to record the song I Will Always Love You for the movie The Bodyguard. And that's how I Will Always Love You gets its real legs, even though Dolly had obviously sung it.
She wrote it.
Wrote that and Jolene in the same day. Like, it's not just that she's a good person. She's a genius. How many different pieces of music are out there, because not only was she an incredible performer with an iconic look and voice, but because she was a brilliant writer of music. And like just something as simple as, Lucas, I'm sure you saw the videos of her like playing her nails to get in tune, right? Where she's strumming her nails back and forth like a washboard. That's on 9 to 5. And she's got a credit on the record for Nails by Dolly Parton, because she can just come up with something like that on a dime. And how quick, like the interviews are crazy. She's one of the most intelligent human beings you've ever been around. But just because she looks like a, what's the word that you would use? Town tramp a little bit, with the big boobs and the big hair and the big eyelashes and the makeup. Like, you underestimate at your own peril somebody like that, and then she just owns everything that she's trying to do. The fact that she had the wherewithal to be on the front end of publishing her own songs at the time when she was doing it as a woman in that business is crazy. It's just unheard of.
The first song on her debut album, Hi, I'm Dolly, which came out in 1967, is called Dumb Blonde. And she just had this perfect wit and sort of self-deprecating humor at every turn that just made everybody fall in love with her more. Like, I don't know, how could a human be so good and so pure is kind of a question that you ask yourself about Dolly. So this one just hits in a different way, especially around here, especially in the east part of the state where she was from. Everybody has their favorite Dolly story. Nobody in the history of the planet could ever have anything bad to say about the beautiful angel that she was as a human being. So, yeah, the world's worse off today without Dolly Parton.
Robert, do you have the clip from, I think it's E, where she's being interviewed by Andy Cohen, and it's like a rapid fire interview question and answer session with Dolly Parton. So there's a little bit of, hokey game show music in the background. But the final question that Andy Cohen asks her, Krull, is the question in the clip? Okay, let's hear from Andy Cohen and Dolly Parton, because this obviously has significant Nashville ties.
What is the best thing that you bought or invested in with money from your I Will Always Love You royalties?
Well, that's a good question. I bought my big office complex down in Nashville, and so I thought, well, this is a wonderful place to be. I bought a property down in what was the black area of town, and it was mostly just black families and people that lived around there, and it was just off the beaten path from 16th Avenue, and I thought, well, I am going to buy this place. It was a whole strip mall, and I thought this is the perfect place for me to be, considering it was Whitney, and so I just thought this was great. I'm just going to be down here with her people, who are my people as well, and so I just love the fact that I spent that money on a complex, and I think this is the house that Whitney built.
That's great. I love it. Thank you, Dolly.
So you seen her offices in town?
No.
It's that, you probably have. It's that building that's just square in the middle of 12 South that looks like, I don't even know how you would describe it. The architecture almost looks like southwestern. You know the building that I'm talking about? If you Googled images of it, I'm sure you would probably recognize it. But like, she just decides to put her whole Nashville operation in one of the poorest parts of town.
Oh, yes. Okay. You're like mission style building.
Right.
Yeah,
mission style. That's the better way to put it. In Sevier Park. And again, completely changes the dynamics of that neighborhood because she's willing to just take her economic impact there. It's a wild thing just how easily good decisions and beneficial decisions for more than just her came to her. When a lot of us will just do things, that benefit us exclusively without thinking about the potential impact on others. Little things like that. That's a huge, think about the difference that made in that part of town.
Yeah. And what she came from too, in just little Sevierville, Tennessee, in the Smoky Mountains, incredibly poor family. Her father couldn't read or write, which is why she did so much for literacy, children's literacy, with Imagination Library that she started in the 90s. I was trying to figure out yesterday if there's any sort of estimate on just how much Dolly has given to these philanthropic causes. And,
$500,000.
Yeah, like $600 million.
To the Imagination Library alone. You couldn't possibly. I don't think she disclosed enough of the things that
it'd
she
be impossible to truly
for you
know.
to be able to track down, like, financially. Yeah. I'm sure somebody had done her accounting and things like that, but still.
No, but yeah, what she donated to Nashville communities, like you mentioned, with the Whitney Houston tie, what she donated to COVID research during that time when the entire world was in fear and panic, what she donated in 2016. I was in college in 2016 when the fires happened in Gatlinburg, in her community. And what she did in that moment obviously surprised no one. But even just hearing her voice right there with Andy Cohen, like, put even her singing voice aside, just hearing her speak just made you want to shed a tear, where you just thought, how could a human being be so perfect? So Robert and I got the chance to, I will always cherish that we got the chance to see her in person when she came out onto the field at Neyland
Oh, you guys were at that game?
And saying Rocky Top with Peyton Manning. The Georgia game a while back, Tennessee got slaughtered in that game. So that was a welcome sight to see her come out there. They did her a disservice where
up the audio.
Her earpiece wasn't working. And so she was just being sweet Dolly. And basically the crowd kind of stepped in and sang it with her and for her. And it was just a beautiful moment.
But like, who's this woman that just botched the anthem the other day?
Martha Reeves?
From the...
Martha and the Vandellas.
The Vandellas.
Yeah.
And think about Martha losing her mind on the backup singers for this terrible anthem, and Dolly just kind of rolling with the punches in front of 105,000 people. Because what is she going to do? She going to snap at somebody about it? She going to have a diva moment, Dolly Parton?
No, never.
No, never.
God, no.
Never. Wouldn't even cross her mind when the vast majority of performing artists who would just completely melt down in a moment like that, you cannot imagine. And it just seamless, completely seamless.
No, just wonderful, wonderful. And I, as a Tennessee alum, I feel so blessed that like the East Tennessee community, gets to claim Dolly Parton. She's the most wonderful thing that anybody that's ever been even a tiny little part of that community could ever hope to have claim to have sort of produced, as a region, as a community. It's just, it doesn't get any better.
Well, I mean, we have spent a little bit of time over there at Vanderbilt Children's Hospital, right? Not just because of Landon, but because they have the Seacrest studios there. And from time to time, we'll do a show there to help them continue to raise awareness and raise money. Dolly Parton was over there regularly.
Oh, yeah.
Think about all the different things. And she just, without announcing her own cancer diagnosis, they just released a remake of her song with Miley Cyrus, and I'm blanking on the name of the song. Something about brighter days. It's going to drive me crazy.
Miley Cyrus, her goddaughter.
Yes, Miley Cyrus, but she's got Miley Cyrus, Lainey Wilson. It's Reba is on it. They re-released a Dolly Parton song for the purposes of raising money for children with cancer. Instead of Dolly making it about herself and her cancer diagnosis, she gets in the studio, she gets a bunch of her celebrity friends and family together, say, let's belt this one out. Let's raise some money for cancer-ridden children.
Well, Robert says, Light of a Clear Blue Morning.
Light of a Clear Blue Morning, which is a banger. I mean, and just the music. Like, I could do 3 hours on this today. Lucas, it's so cool.
Yeah, I know.
But I woke up like 4:45 this morning. I'm like, all right, whatever, I'll go for a walk. And I do this loop around Bicentennial Mall in front of the state capitol building and things like that because it's close to my house. And like maybe it's the light of the clear blue morning and it's pink like the Empire State Building because everybody was paying tributes to Dolly yesterday with all the visage of the state of Tennessee and the history of the state of Tennessee and her bringing Tennessee to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
As an ambassador, not just for this country, but for this state. And what pride. I mean, I'm jealous. I'm a local, but not a native by any stretch of the imagination. I'm so jealous that you guys get to claim Dolly Parton as yours. It's insane. So I was listening to Dolly music, like the Essential Dolly Parton playlist on Apple Music this morning. And like it would go from just the most heart-wrenching Little Sparrow, Fly Like an Eagle, like songs and just soul-crushing poverty and struggle and all these different things to, I'm going to dry these useless tears out of my eyes and go two doors down and have a party. You know what I'm saying? Like this, just the range of emotions, the quality of the writing, of the music, and the way that she never lost her grip on the things that matter to real people while being Dolly.
Yeah. It was storytelling. She could do it with humor, with this level of sass and wit that only Dolly had. And she could make you just break down and cry. I mean, hell, I my entire life have shed a tear anytime I hear Dolly's version of Rocky Top. It's just something about it. And so, we're gonna miss having her on this earth, man. One of those that you just knew one day would come, but
I don't know, man. I thought she's gonna live forever.
Yeah,
it's
that's crushing.
You
Robert has put the link to where you can donate to Imagination Library in the FNM Bank chat. Carry on Dolly's legacy.
Yes, absolutely, and to continue to raise awareness for all the different causes that she was a part of and to keep the spirit of Dolly Parton alive. Absolutely. 615-737-1045. We will talk sports at some point, but people want to talk about Dolly Parton, so we'll take your phone calls on her next. The Tennessee Men's Clinic is here to help you the way that they have helped so many other guys throughout the course of 12 years, celebrating their anniversary of 12 years here in the Middle Tennessee area, and now open in Murfreesboro. So you can get them in Nashville, Franklin, Clarksville, and the borough, serving so many more across Middle Tennessee. Almost 20 years helping guys in Tennessee in some form or fashion with their urologist-led practice, which means a urologist oversees every part of your protocol and your individualized care. That's why if you want the best, you go to the Tennessee Men's Clinic. The pills, they don't work for everyone, and even when they do, a lot of guys deal with side effects that are just downright nasty. If the pills haven't worked or never really did, that's exactly who the Tennessee Men's Clinic is made for. Their lab offer right now is just $99 for a full hormone panel plus PSA, and you'll know your exact number in about an hour. So call them today at 615-208-9090. That's 615-208-9090 or online at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Welcome back to the show. God, I should not be talking over Dolly Parton or Kenny Rogers. Banger after banger after banger after banger. I mean, and the chemistry between the two of them, Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton, whenever they would do duets, it's some of the best live singing in those award show moments or those concert moments that you will find anywhere. Again, the clips and the videos are endless, and we are worse as a world without Dolly Parton today. We are going to talk sports, I promise you. But I don't know. When on a day like today, it should be a little bit of celebration, a little bit of sadness, maybe a lot of celebration, a little bit of sadness.
I mean, yeah, Dolly deserves 24 hours, 48 hours, 24 weeks of celebrating her. And I love the stuff that gets recycled that you just kind of forgot about and comes back to the forefront like this, that a few years ago in 2021, Tennessee wanted to put a statue of Dolly at the state capitol. That was basically in the works.
Yeah.
And Dolly put out this statement. She said, "I want to thank the Tennessee legislature for their consideration of a bill to erect a statue of me on the Capitol grounds. I am honored and humbled by their intention, but I have asked the leaders of the state legislature to remove the bill from any and all consideration. Given all that is going on in the world," this is like COVID, still lingering COVID, "I don't think putting me on a pedestal is appropriate at this time. I hope, though, that somewhere down the road, several years from now, or perhaps after I'm gone, if you still feel I deserve it, then I'm certain I will stand proud in our great state capitol as a grateful Tennessean. In the meantime, I'll continue to try to do good work to make this great state proud."
Enough has been done. Do it.
I mean, how can a human be so perfect?
Well, that's seeing some of the, okay, I want to get to the calls because we've already done 30 minutes of this and it's been mostly me yammering. So I apologize for that because I want to give people requisite space to also be able to commemorate this. What's the song by Elvis, Earth Angel? Dolly Parton. Come on. 615-737-1045. Okay, Jerry is in Nashville first.
Nashville, Jerry. How y'all doing?
Doing great.
Hey, you tell my co-workers there's one out there named Lucas and Jonathan. They're listening to you, but I think the Titans need a theme song this year needs to be the coat of many colors. And, hey, you watch the boys thrive. They'll go.
Thank you for the call. That's kind of what their uniform rebrand feels like, right? Coat of many colors, all kind of different uniforms. The Titans are gonna do a moment of silence for Dolly at Saturday's preseason game. They have also lowered the flags in not just the state, but in the country for Dolly Parton today. Internationally, this is being commemorated and also celebrated. I'm telling you, like the Buckingham Palace marching band tribute to Dolly Parton doing 9 to 5 in front of Buckingham Palace. All this stuff, man. I can't get enough of it, even though it is devastating to have lost this human being. Devastating. Mike in Nashville, also, coat of many colors, just wrecks you. I mean, wrecks you when you listen to it. Incredible song. Go ahead, Mike.
Morning, guys. How y'all doing today?
We're doing great.
Man, Dolly Parton is a perfect example of what happens when your talent, moral, and attractive stats get pushed all the way up to 10. A couple points I wanted to bring up. There is a change.org petition circulating right now to rename Nashville International Airport to Dolly Parton International.
Yes.
It had 55,000 signatures as of yesterday at 3 o'clock when I signed it. The second thing is, how about making a September 25th 9 to 5 day where everybody can just volunteer or do something good for humanity? And that's all I got. Thanks, y'all.
Those are very good.
Yeah, good stuff.
There is a change.org petition. I think we can do better than the airport. I mean, the airport's great.
I'll sign that right now.
Sure, but I feel like Dolly's bigger than an airport, respectfully. Like, give me a highway.
I name everything.
Name it all.
Yeah,
I mean, make it. I don't care. You can't put enough rhinestones and
name
all
the
this.
Batman building after her. Like, I mean,
the Dolly Parton commemorative Batman building.
I'm going to sign that petition right now.
Yeah, because, I mean, B&A is just B&A, right? Nashville International Airport. It's not like John Wayne or named for a president or something like that. And then the other part, so the Empire State Building lit up last night at 9:25 in all rhinestone pink for, a celebration of life for Dolly. And people locally at her, she's obviously got a Nashville residence. And the people in the neighborhood have been just leaving bouquets of flowers and tributes and letters of just different ways that she has impacted so many people's lives. It's, again, you hate that tragedy has to happen for these great human moments to occur, but it is a great moment to see humanity rally around that. We can all experience some things still together, no matter how far apart on a number of other different subjects we might be. 615-737-1045 is how you jump in. Do you see, I saw Juicy J saying, shout out the legend Dolly Parton, because she famously, after 3-6 Mafia, won the Oscar, sent them a letter about bringing the Oscar back to Tennessee. Eminem put out a letter that Dolly wrote him after his, I think this was the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction.
He was inducted, yep.
For Eminem.
Yeah, very sweet.
I mean, just so many different demographics, so many places where you maybe think, looking at somebody like Dolly Parton, she would have no business being or talking to or whatever. Like, just unbelievable. She can get down with anybody. Bam, in Nashville next.
Yo, it was good, man. I actually had the surprise honor of working with her at the Grand Ole Opry in 2023. Me and my band were doing an event at the Grand Ole Opry, and during the break, we had, it was a great event, man. She had came in the dressing room where we were, and just, you would have thought that she was like, the roles were reversed. She was just so humble and just so down to earth and just so loving. Like, she was like, you guys were just so amazing. She was like blown away by what we were doing. And we're like, yo, do you know who you are? That didn't matter to her, man. She was just like the most humble person that you could ever meet, man. I mean, she just sat there, took pictures, and I'm trying to find them so I can post them. I mean, she just, it was a very touching moment to be able to share the stage, not even just share the stage, but sit down and talk to somebody of that, of that magnitude, man. So she's definitely going to be missed. Definitely an honor to be able to say that I had the pleasure to work with her, have a conversation with her, different things like that, man. So R.I.P. Dolly, man, much love and respect. And we need to give her a building. The airport needs to be called Dollywood. The end.
Nice for the call.
That's incredible.
Dolly World open today, by the way, because I think
Dollywood.
Isn't that what I said?
I thought you said Dolly World.
I apologize if I did. Dollywood. I think I read yesterday that it is still the largest employer in Sevier County.
Oh, that adds up.
Right? Like she and the tuition impact that she has had on so many people and employees and families of employees at Dollywood. Again, the impact cannot be measured, no matter how hard you try. And again, as I mentioned, scrolling clips yesterday, Bam bringing up that she's playing, and no, not to dismiss Bam and his band, but like a random band, right? Like they just happen to be in the spot where Dolly is at that point in time. She's like, all right, boys, let's chop it up a little bit. There's a video of her at a random bar in Ireland. Yeah. It's like it's in the 80s or early 90s or something like that. And a guitarist has told Dolly while she's on vacation, big fan, I know Coat of Many Colors. It would be amazing if you would give us a couple of verses here. Gets up there, belts it out. She lets the guitarist get her in rhythm a little bit, and then she's chopping it up with the guitarist like while they're singing along. It looks like they've had chemistry forever because she makes it so comfortable for everybody.
I couldn't get enough of the late night clips of Dolly, whether it was on Johnny Carson or Conan O'Brien, David Letterman, whatever it might be.
The
Because
Carson ones are great.
Yeah, their banter was fantastic, and her, she was just so damn funny, and that's where you would see her sense of humor come out, and the way, just how intentional she was in leaning in to that sort of, like ditzy, dumb blonde appearance, right? Just straight appearance, and leaning into that, and there were jokes about that, and then she would use those jokes, she would make them about herself to spin it around and show you how intelligent she was and how ahead of the curve she was. The way she would rise above that stuff by leaning into it was masterful. Just incredible what Dolly would do in that regard. Just so damn funny in all of those moments. I couldn't get enough of those yesterday.
I have one of those, or rather Robert has one of those clips specifically from her late night appearance with Jimmy Fallon, where she's telling a story about growing up and visiting Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge, where, of course, Dollywood is located, as a kid. And it's one of the funnier, I'll just let Dolly do it.
Many years ago, back when I was a kid, they had a bear in a cage. We're famous for the bears in the Smokies. And they had a bear in a big cage up there, and people would stop at this market, and they would buy Cokes for this bear. It was in the cage, and tourists would take pictures, because Gatlinburg, that whole area, for years, they would put Cokes and peanuts in the Coca-Cola cans or whatever the bottled Cokes were then. So anyway, this bear was just getting bigger and bigger, but they were doing that, and they were just selling all kinds of stuff at this market. Yeah. And this poor bear was just drinking them all. And one day, some redneck they put gasoline in a Coke can. Can you believe how bad people are? And the poor thing just went crazy, and it broke out of the pen. And it started toward Sevierville, because Pigeon Forge is about 8 miles from Sevierville. And it just ran all the way down, and it was just going down there. And then, all of a sudden, it just fell over.
Oh.
I know.
Dead?
No, it was out of gas.
Fallon falls out of his chair laughing, because Dolly Parton has just pulled off this sob story of a prank on him.
You know what? That's like Norm Macdonald-esque. You know what I mean? Let's luring you in, and you don't expect it to be a joke because it's Dolly, and she's just telling a story. You're listening to sweet Dolly, and she just had you
and the
whole
crowd's
time.
Laughing when she says some redneck says, no, seriously. She baits them even further.
Yeah. She just had you the whole time. It's beautiful.
What the hell were we supposed to talk about here?
Something.
I don't care.
Oh,
I don't care at all about anything else other than great Dolly Parton moments. 615-737-1045. We do have, do you want to do some sports?
We talk about Dolly's team.
Okay, let's work a little SEC observations in, coming up next.
So this is a song that if I ever just want to like sit in feelings, like thinking about the time in Knoxville, or I'm driving through Knoxville, I'm in the Smoky Mountains. This song is blasted, man, with the windows down. Like this song hits hard, especially today. My favorite song Dolly ever wrote is this song, without a doubt.
And your favorite song that Dolly ever sung?
Definitely my favorite cover is Traveling Prayer, which is a Billy Joel song, interestingly enough. And Dolly covered it on her 99 album, The Grass is Blue, and it slaps. It's an incredible
That whole album bangs.
Yeah, incredible bluegrass cover. Her covers were just unbelievable. But
if you haven't seen the Stairway to Heaven cover that's making the rounds on the internet, go find it. It's unbelievable. Or the cover of Shine.
Yeah.
Because both of those are electric and I might argue better than the originals.
But that song from My Tennessee Mountain Home, which is the name of the album, so that's the title track, early 70s, recorded in Nashville, as many of her albums were. And that's one that if you ever find yourself driving through the Smokies, just hit play on the first song of that album, and you will feel like you are in Dolly's backyard, which you are. Okay, let's talk about Dolly's football team, shall we? The Vols named their starting quarterback this week. They're not the only program in the SEC to do so. Florida has named Aaron Philo, the Georgia Tech, the starting quarterback. Vanderbilt, obviously, naming Blaise Berlowitz the starter for week 1, but Jared Curtis will play against Austin Peay. I feel like is the asterisk there. And Alabama has named Keelan Russell the starter down in Tuscaloosa. So some similarities between Bama and Tennessee, a few similarities in that Austin Mack and George McIntyre, the guys that were there that had been learning the offense. Mack for much longer than George. Mack was with DeBoer at Washington and came with him to Alabama. So he's a veteran at this point. George only had 1 year in the system. Obviously didn't really play last year. But Brandon and Russell, the high upside guys, the dual threat guys. Russell had 1 year in the system last year. Obviously, Brandon is a true freshman. But there is some overlap there. The question is, which of those two programs can separate their new starter, can support their new starter better in 2026. I think there's a case to be made for either one, to be quite honest. And then you have, like I said, Philo at Florida and Berlowitz at Vanderbilt. So, to my knowledge, that pretty much covers all of the starting quarterbacks in the SEC. I don't know that Arkansas has officially announced that Camario Taylor is going to start there. They've got a Mississippi State quarterback Camario Taylor, but I think he's going to be the guy. I don't know that Arkansas has officially named their starter either. But the big QB battles in the SEC, of which it felt like there were a few, have all been announced. The question is, which of those first-year starters has the highest expectations in the SEC? And we can kind of go through them a bit.
Well, I mean, immediately, at least I don't think it's that big of a jump to say Keelan Russell at Alabama.
So, again, first-year starter. So it doesn't have to be one of these guys that just won the job. We can keep it to Keelan Russell, Byron Brown at Auburn, Aaron Philo at Florida. We've got Kenny Minchie at Kentucky. We've got Sam Leavitt at LSU.
Leavitt's a good one.
Yep. Austin Simmons at Missouri. Faison Brandon at Tennessee. Blaise Berlowitz at Vanderbilt. Who has the highest individual expectation? I would probably go with Leavitt because we've seen Leavitt do it. We've seen him play in the college football playoff, and he gets inserted into an LSU situation that immediately is expected to be a contender.
And is being paid a ridiculous amount of money and all these different things.
Yeah. So I think growing pains will be expected with Russell and Brandon, but there will be dynamic moments expected. And the thought for both of those fan bases is we want to be finishing 2026 thinking, yep, that's the guy that we're riding into 2027 with championship hopes with.
I have not thought about Missouri this season at all.
Yeah, Austin Simmons, the starting quarterback. Remember, he was the starter at Ole Miss, was benched. Not benched, he got hurt, and then Chambliss came in and took off, and then Simmons stayed on the bench after he got healthy. I have no idea what the Austin Simmons experience will be like at Missouri. I really don't. They've had a couple nice seasons under Eli Drinkwitz. He's done a nice job there. He's probably done better than anybody would have expected when he came in, kind of, trying to be funny. He's got a bit of a goofy guy. But to Eli's credit, he has achieved some sort of sustained success and consistency with Missouri. But Austin Simmons is the guy that Lane Kiffin tabbed over Trinidad Chambliss. So there is something to be said for that. But, yeah, I love it individually. Highest expectations.
I don't know why I'm fixated on Missouri the way that I am, but Ahmad Hardy is going to miss the opener for them, the season opener, after the gunshot incident that he sustained at a concert.
Yeah, it seems that way. He'll miss the start of the season. Well, and maybe even a little more. Pete Thamel reported on it a few days ago, saying that the target for his return is mid-September.
Okay.
And that's a big blow for Missouri because they have to build around Ahmad Hardy. This dude was a 1,600-yard rusher last season. He was a monster in that backfield and averaging 6.4 yards per carry, 16 touchdowns. He's not going to be the guy catching passes out of the backfield, but he is a monster of a bell cow back. Kind of a short, low center of gravity, bully ball. He will soften a defense, the whole deal, but Missouri needs him back sooner than later. Meanwhile, the SEC.
Just quickly.
Yep.
Jared Curtis. How would you describe on an SEC scale the level of pressure that he is facing, the level of scrutiny, the level of expectation that he is facing from a fan base that it's not like, I wouldn't compare it to Indiana, like figuring out college football in real time, essentially, because that's not Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's obviously been in the SEC for a considerable amount of time. They understand SEC football. I'm not going to denigrate them just because they've been bad at it, right? There was an internet reaction is not the entire fan base, so try not to put too much in that bucket. But Chris Lee, actually, who covers Vanderbilt, tweeted at us yesterday thanking us for talking about the story and the different dynamics of the story and talking about the freak out that was happening online among Vanderbilt fans. Is that a significant portion? Is it like Vanderbilt fans do not occupy a huge internet corner, right? They rarely call us unless it's that one that wants to talk smack to you, gentlemen and Lucas.
We've not heard Vanderbilt fans freaking out. Let it be known.
Not heard them,
yeah,
no. Seen just scrolling, seen Chris Lee's mentions, those kind of things.
If I'm a Vandy fan, I'm letting Clark Lee run that program. And I'm putting all the trust in the world in the guy that just won 10 games as the head coach at Vanderbilt. The Vanderbilt alum that wants to be at Vanderbilt. So, yeah, Blaise Berlowitz, I believe that Blaise Berlowitz just won the job, that he is more prepared to be Vanderbilt's starter than Jared Curtis is. It doesn't mean he's more talented. Like, these things are different. We talked about it with Tennessee. Joey Aguilar is by no means a more talented player than Nico Iamaleava. Yes, we all agree. But Aguilar took that passing attack to heights that Nico couldn't even touch because Nico just wasn't ready. He wasn't at that point, even though he has all the physical tools in the world. Same with Jared Curtis. Jared is so freaking talented, but it's a huge adjustment for him. So I totally believe that Blaise Berlowitz looked better in camp. There were reports that he looked better in scrimmages. But on that same note, I'm expecting Jared Curtis to be the starter by the time the season ends. I don't know how that comes about, whether that's performance and the pressure rising to play the kid, whether that's injury. Hopefully it's not. That was the case with Graham Mertz, certainly at Florida the other year when Lagway was kind of lurking in the background as a five-star freshman. But I'm expecting Jared Curtis to finish the year as Vandy's starter. Quickly, we have some news. The SEC has stepped in, just like the Big Ten did, saying that...
After the Big Ten?
Yes, following college football leaders, the Big Ten.
Convenient.
Saying that there is a new conference rule. It is unanimous, and it gives Greg Sankey full authority to enforce this rule that, long story short, you go to the pros, you don't get to come back. We didn't know the penalties. Now we do. It is a 50% season suspension for head coaches. So if Lane Kiffin plays any of these guys coming back from NFL training camps, boom, half the year you're not on the sideline. 50% of that sport's annual operating budget and SEC voting privileges on business matters get revoked. Hefty, hefty penalties. And Will Wade is left scrambling because that dude's entire roster was basically professional athletes. So stock down on LSU basketball this season.
I don't blame Lane for getting up at the podium. You see his comment. Oh, we played the comments, right? Yesterday when we were at training camp?
Yeah, yep.
I don't blame him for being like, hey, man. The loophole's there.
Yeah, it's.
Am I going to get fired?
Yeah, don't hit the player,
because
hit the
I didn't
game.
exploit it?
Yep. Loophole's closed now.
Because there's, and maybe it's just because people don't like Lane, certain segments of people don't like Lane, that anything Lane says is going to get lambasted. Maybe so. But I was kind of pro Lane on that specific reason because I'm like, I don't need Lane Kiffin to be the one to take up the charge here. Okay? But good. Glad to see the SEC, as you mentioned, followed the leaders in college athletics right now. Where's the ACC on all of this? ACC Truther? What's going on back there? You're very hard at work, and I'm sorry to bother you because you seem very busy.
Yes, swamped back here with managerial duties and big belly Bert things to do.
He's got a stack of papers, 2 feet tall, a pencil in his ear.
So big belly Bert,
cigarette hanging out of his mouth.
Hold on. I'll get the reports in. I get
TPS reports.
Yeah, can I get those TPS reports on my desk?
The mail never stops.
Big belly Bert is the one who has to do the bureaucratic stuff, and Big Boss Bert is,
It's like my Jekyll and Hyde.
Okay.
Where's the ACC on this, you ask?
Yes, I am.
I'm glad you did.
Mm-hmm.
I think they should take the opposite approach. Hey, all you former athletes, you want to go
down.
play somewhere? Come on in. They're already going to sell our conference off for parts in 5 years, so you might as well just break all the rules on the way out the door. You don't think the Pac-12 would have been like, God, I wish we would have just said, dang it, we're going to do what we want to do, and we have all these good teams. We have Oregon, we have USC, we have power. Let's let all these good schools in. Now look at us. It's Fresno State. It's the washed-up has-beens of the West Coast. The ACC should take the charge to the athletes and say, hey, you can't go play at LSU, but how about you play at FSU? How about you come to Virginia?
You see Spurrier take out Florida State?
No.
He's on some podcast or something like that.
Of course, Lucas wouldn't see it. ACC is not in his purview.
I love listening to Spurrier talk.
This is right down Lucas's alley.
A true Tennessean right there.
Spurrier was talking about, Florida State can't even find the money to fire the coach that they don't want anyway.
Yeah,
At least
I
we're
did
better
see that.
off than them, right? We got rid of our guy. We bought our guy out.
I love him, man.
It's just
I love him.
Great.
Yeah, you love him because he's trashing on the conference that's going to stand up to all this tyranny. Let's let the Big Ten and the SEC
Tyranny.
They can be the stand-up guys. You guys can take your rightful spot as second place in college football. The Big Ten can herald high above and be the mighty rule touter. ACC has no problem being the dogs, being the rule breakers, being the Mavericks.
Pete Nakos today. ACC ADs meet on a call tomorrow in the Big 12. Expected to hold a similar discussion later this week.
Followers.
To discuss also enforcing these policies.
Yes.
How do we get these former athletes to play in college? How do we get Bill Belichick over 4 wins?
What do we have to give away?
That's how you do the 33rd team, Bill.
Oh, my God.
You'll get a bunch of guys on the waiver
You'll
wire.
get Daquan Wright that can't get on the field for the Browns.
If you give us the dumbest thing in sports this week, 615-737-1045, you will get 2 tickets to see OAR's 3rd Decade Tour this Friday at First Bank Amphitheater in Franklin.
615-737-1045. If you want those OAR tickets, just call in and tell us what the dumbest thing in sports this week is. Two Rivers Ford is the South's most trusted Ford dealer for any number of reasons, but it's also because they have so many great offers year-round. What's going on right now is I know what you need for your tailgate. You need a Ford F-150, and right now it's F-150 season at Two Rivers Ford. Lock in that 2.9% financing for up to 84 months on a brand new 2026 F-150. You choose the terms. Plus $1,500 bonus cash and a 2-year complimentary maintenance plan. That's 2.9% APR, $1,500 in bonus cash, and a 2-year maintenance plan on your new F-150. And when you do business with Two Rivers Ford, you can rest assured you're doing business with a locally owned company that's upfront and honest. The price you see online is always the price you pay. You won't find add-on accessories or surprises that increase the price of the vehicle when you get to the dealership, like so many dealerships do. So put an F-150 in your driveway. Go see the non-commissioned sales team at Two Rivers Ford, family owned for 3 generations. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.
It is 11:05. Good morning from the Circus Sports at the Mint Game Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Lucas Panzika. We are not at Titans practice today, but back at it tomorrow for joint practice as training camp wraps up. The Chicago Bears will be in town before the preseason finale on Saturday. Meanwhile, in college football news, the SEC has finalized penalties for programs that violate its new professional sports eligibility rules. Violations will result in the head coach being suspended for 50% of the season, a fine equal to 50% of the sport's annual operating budget, and SEC voting privileges on business matters revoked. Players will no longer be able to dip their toe in the professional waters before returning to college. The Big Ten made a similar ruling yesterday. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. We're playing Dolly all day long, hell, all year long for as much as I care. Obviously, to celebrate an incredible life gone too soon at 80 years old yesterday. We are going to do, because normally you would hear the imaging associated with the dumbest thing in sports. We are going to do the dumbest thing in sports here. 615-737-1045. The number, you call in. You give us your dumbest, we'll give you 2 tickets to see OAR at First Bank Amphitheater out in Franklin. 615-737-1045. The dumbest thing in sports this week is Jed York. I want more time to talk about all the layers of the Jed York story that we did not get to in its onset. What was that, Monday? This
It
happened in the middle of Watson and preseason reaction and all these different things. But Jed York, the San Francisco 49ers owner, who was recently just caught up in a prostitution sting in East Palestine, Ohio, as many people do, over a $140 prostitution situation. Jed York and the entire circumstance around him, laugh out loud funny. I mean, it's probably the most embarrassing.
Yes, it is. It is.
I mean, yeah, the most embarrassing without consequence, right? Because Dan Snyder is just a dreadful human.
Yeah, it's a bad person.
Just a bad.
But like the most embarrassing that we like point and laugh at.
Haha, funny.
Yeah. A billionaire owner trying to pay $140 for a prostitute at a Ohio trailer park. The
trailer park wants you to know he was just pulled over there.
Right.
He wasn't getting serviced there.
No, that is peak. Like that, it doesn't get more embarrassing than that.
God, I can't get enough of that story. At some point, we got to go through the details because more and more are coming out since the onset of that story, the reporting around it on Monday. But just generally.
Apparently, he used the alias Joe.
Joe York?
Yes. He allegedly, this is from TMZ, they obtained the police report. He reached out to it was indeed a fake ad. So somebody made the joke, like click for like hot singles in your area.
Hot singles near you.
He fell for it. He literally did. He clicked on a fake ad for a hooker. It says a couple of times on Saturday, and then he did again on Sunday morning, which led to him being popped near the trailer park.
Wait.
Well, not popped.
Those
Trying
aren't
to get popped.
There aren't hot singles in our area that want to talk to me? What about the grandma
That's what
ones?
Jed York is saying right now.
Not even the hot grandmas?
Horny grannies near you.
That's not real?
Jed York is stunned.
Who the hell have I been talking to?
Krull.
Incredible. The Niners had to put out a statement. It's a criminal investigation. We have no comments.
I sent her my bank card.
How do you come back from this amongst your peers? Like Jed York, does he go to, what are the odds he's at NFL owners meetings? The next owners
Pretty
meeting.
good. Especially where are we in the rotation? Arizona's the one they all want to go to. I want to say it's Palm Beach or Palm Springs coming up next. I bet he's there. I mean, because I'm certain he has to vote on some stuff. Like he can, I guess, vote in absentia. But almost every owner goes for at least a day. Now, owners meeting is already going to be a disaster this year because I think Vrabel and Diana are going to have TMZ crawling all over that place. And I'm not just talking about like...
Well, Jed York's taking some of the heat off of him, I think.
No, for sure. But now I think they're going to be sniffing around.
Yeah.
Sniffing around the breakers, looking for Jed York, picking up prostitutes.
Well, they wouldn't have to look too far. So it is in Phoenix in 2027. And Google says, yes, there are many trailer parks legally referred to as manufactured home or mobile home communities located around Phoenix and throughout Arizona and surrounding the Metropolitan Valley. They range from all ages, family parks, to 55-plus active adult communities. So Jed York will be there.
Is it in Phoenix back-to-back years? I feel like we rarely do the back-to-back owners meetings.
Yeah, it's Google AI that's telling me that.
That's great.
2027 league meetings. It says Arizona on Google AI, but okay.
My dumbest thing in sports this week, the Cleveland Browns. Not because Deshaun Watson is their starter or all the foolishness around that quarterback competition and him having to come out and apologize. It's a retroactive dumbest thing in sports this week that applies this week because They drafted Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round of the NFL draft.
That's right.
And in a quarterback competition that featured Deshaun Watson, who hasn't played a shred of good football in 6 years, and Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel did not factor one iota into this quarterback competition. The Browns are the dumbest thing in sports. We pointed and laughed because we thought it was dumb when they did it, taking Dylan in the 3rd, Shedeur in the 5th. And man, does it look even dumber now when your 3rd round pick isn't even remotely a factor in maybe the worst quarterback competition the NFL has seen in quite some time.
What do you think he's thinking? He's happy to be here? He can't be happy to be there.
He's like, where's them damn trailer parks at?
Boy, is that the memes about Deshaun Watson finding out that you can get, $140 prostitute in a trailer park in Ohio. We're everywhere.
By the way, Dylan Gabriel will start in their preseason finale.
Oh, good.
Taylon Green will back him up because, yes, they did draft another quarterback in this past draft. Oh, it's just insane, man.
You can't say they haven't tried, right? God knows they've tried. They're like the Colts. Let's just go dust Matt Ryan off at 37 years old and see if that one works. Jesus.
So the 2 quarterbacks that they wasted draft picks on will indeed play in the preseason this week.
615-737-1045. If you want to tell us what the dumbest thing in sports this week is, with the opportunity to win 2 tickets to OAR's upcoming concert, all you got to do is call in and give us your submission. Let's start with...
He left.
I'm so disappointed. Robert got in my ear and said, go to line 4 first. He wants to defend Jed York.
Oh.
He didn't really put up like a strong defense. His defense was, I don't know why we're making such a big deal about it. He just wants to get him some.
It's a shame that he dropped.
Yeah,
Because he has $1 billion.
I know.
And he's paying for a $140 prostitute on a fake website ad. That's why we're making fun of him.
Tried to get him to the front of the line.
You can get it just about anywhere when you're making that kind of money.
Don't I know it?
Like, dude, go find a gold digger somewhere.
Right,
like,
that's what I'm saying. You can't. There's not like any.
What was the Donald Sterling one? You remember this woman where Donald Sterling, Barbara Walters is interviewing Donald Sterling's lover, and it's like this woman in her like mid-20s, and she's talking about, I'm his silly rabbit. I'm his confidant. I'm telling you, find this. If you can find this interview, Barbara Walters interviewing Donald Sterling's lover, mistress. It's one of the grossest, because that's like Donald Sterling just went out and found him a gold digger. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just like wave that cash around. Somebody, it's like, it's not legal. It's just people being bad people.
And that's not even a sexist thing. Robert's been waiting for some rich old woman to do the exact same thing to him for basically our entire relationship, knowing him. You let me know when you have this Donald Sterling, or I guess this.
I don't want to hear
buddy,
it.
it's so good. It's as cringeworthy. Did you enjoy another Sterling? Who's the Sterling? John Sterling getting hit in the face with a baseball?
Yeah, that was good.
And you're going to enjoy this, I promise you.
OG says it was the rush of being around commoners.
This is how the normies do it, right? Hot singles near you.
Oh my God, this is incredible.
Did you find it?
So Barbara Walters is interviewing the woman, not Donald Sterling.
That's right.
So her name is just V. Stiviano.
V. Stiviano.
And here is Barbara Walters.
Yes.
Can you tell me what your relationship with Donald Sterling is?
I'm Mr. Sterling's right-hand arm man.
What?
I'm Mr. Sterling everything. I'm his confidant, his best friend, his silly rabbit.
His what?
His silly rabbit.
His silly rabbit?
Yes.
Is that what he calls you?
No.
The amount of times Robert and I had to hold our hand up at Lucas to be like, no, wait, lay down. It gets worse.
That's what he calls you? No.
you have to see this woman, too, because, I mean, it's just straight out of a Vegas flyer that they're passing around there for hookers.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. And I love Barbara Walters digging on it. Hold on. Silly rabbit. That's great journalism.
That's where she digs in. That's where the follow-up is important, because Barbara Walters with that speech impediment saying silly wabbit. Oh.
Her face lit up when she got to describe their relationship.
Oh, my goodness.
His right hand arm man.
I just imagine them in like an intimate moment, and he's like, "Oh, you're like my right arm, man." And she had no idea what he was saying, so she just brought it up.
God. Because you know what it makes me think of? Bill Belichick. Except this one's not sitting down for interviews with Barbara Walters. Thank you for letting us do that. I'm glad we got to. 615-737-1045 is the number. What's the dumbest thing in sports this week? Let's go to John in Lebanon.
Hey, guys. So my dumbest thing is definitely going to be Jeff Fisher from the Vince Young doc that came out yesterday. We all know the stories of how their relationship was and how Jeff didn't want Vince here. Bud was the one that wanted him here, but he still just sounds and acts like a bitter old man that didn't get the guy he wanted. And when Vince finally matured enough to write him a letter and air out all their problems they had and try to make amends, Jeff's like, I didn't reply because he spelled my name wrong.
That's ridiculous.
How do you misspell Jeff Fisher?
I feel like that. Well,
Maybe hit him with the GEOFF.
Yeah. Thank you for the call, John. Remember to stay on hold for the opportunity.
Maybe put a C in there between the S and the H.
How do you call Harold Landry?
Honor Landry, yeah. I
don't want to make fun of like his intelligence.
I watched the first half of the VY doc yesterday. I'll finish it. So I went to bed right in the middle when he gets drafted by the Titans. So I'm going to watch the Titans portion. It was getting late, so I went to bed. But it was really good.
No, that's what you were saying.
It was really good. Like, VY was very open about his immaturity issues as a kid from high school to college, how he almost left Texas. Somehow I didn't know that. I knew VY was from Houston and liked the Oilers and stuff, and there was that connection. But I did not know that Steve McNair knew Vince when Vince was growing up and was like a mentor to Vince. And he happened to get drafted to the place that Steve played right as the Titans traded Mac to the Ravens. I had no clue that they had that kind of relationship, that Steve McNair called VY as he was thinking about transferring because he heard, and he was like, what are you doing? You're just going to quit? And convinced him to stay at Texas. Had no idea. It's good, but I will say Jeff Fisher's not the reason that didn't work out. Don't force a quarterback on a coach and GM that do not want that quarterback.
Never.
Yeah.
Never, ever. And I'm not saying that, like, I haven't seen it, so if Fisher is still displaying, levels of bitterness or something like that, or obstinance with VY and any potential for rekindling a relationship, because, again, it sounds like Vince is, or at least attempted at one point to reconcile, then that's something that Fish and Vince Young have to work out. But I would be curious to see that. 615-737-1045. Let's go to Tim in Murfreesboro.
Good morning, guys. My dumbest thing in sports is I was watching ESPN the other day, and I found out they got a professional toe wrestling championship league. And so I was like, let me check this out. And as I was watching it, it's 300-pound muscled up men competing to see who can take down the big toe first.
Oh.
But y'all check it out, man. It was hilarious. But that's my dumbest thing in sports, guys.
Thank you for the call, Tim. Robert, as Tim was describing the toe wrestling on ESPN, nodded his head in agreement as if he's known about this for years.
It's been around since like 1974. So, in a arm wrestling competition, both men will step up to the podium and put their arms on a pad and lock them. I'm glad you guys have synchronized your water drinks when I start talking. They will lock in, and then the judge will hold their things and say, go. In toe wrestling, they put their feet on a similar object, but it is called the toadium. Then they lock their toes together.
Is there like a label that says toadium on it in big platinum letters?
It is the toadium. They lock toes, kind of like me and Cheyenne do at night, and they go
like otters. They'll just sleep with their toes locked.
That's the thing that otters do?
Yeah, they sleep with holding hands.
Yep.
What?
Yeah, so they don't float away from each other. It's adorable.
They mate for life.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
The stance competitors sit face-to-face, interlocking bare big toes. Non-competing feet must be held in the air, and hands must remain flat on the ground. Matches are best of 3. Players use their right foot first, then their left foot, and then back to the right foot if a tiebreaker is required. Safety protocols before competing. Players must pass a compulsory toe inspection to check the toe for foot fungus, warts, and open wounds. Artificial stimulants and numbing agents are strictly banned. Now you know.
PEDs of the toe wrestling world.
You get out there and somebody's got like a planter's wart on their toe.
Ugh.
Good submission.
That is a good submission.
Yep.
David is also in Murfreesboro.
Hey, how you guys doing this morning?
Good.
Good. My dumbest thing in sports and period, it has to be Mr. York. If you're gonna be on the site, pick the videos, not the pictures. Come on, rookie.
Don't click on the link.
Somebody just texted me. To be fair, maybe Jed York was in love with the prostitute, like a Pretty Woman scenario.
I'm here to save you.
Well, they had never met. How could he?
Apparently she's not real.
Yeah,
right?
she was not real.
It's a fake
it was
website.
a sting operation. You walked right into it.
You guys talk about me being a bad tipper. Did you guys see that the cash that was taken from him was $160, even though the agreed upon price was $140? He was only going to tip this prostitute $20.
Dude,
I'm not that bad of a tipper.
Oh my God, it's crazy.
I have so many follow-ups.
We got to get out of here. Take one.
Alex is in Mount Juliet.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. My dumbest thing in sports this week has to be the California high school football coach that kicked his player in the nuts and got fired for it, obviously.
Thank you for the call. So I think it's important to note that the coach did not directly kick the child in the nuts. The coach kicked a ball. I'm not saying it's right or better by any stretch of the imagination, but the coach in a fit of rage, Lucas, if you have the video in front of you, kicks a ball in the direction at the player and hits the player in the nuts with the ball.
Yeah, the ball is on the ground, and as the coach is walking up to him yelling, you can see his hands moving around. He just kicks the ball in during his fit, and the ball just happens to, damn.
After reviewing the incident, the Simi Valley Unified School District decided to fire Adam Brubaker as football coach of Royal High School. The firing happened just hours after the school's season opening game on Friday. So they let him coach the first game, and they were like, "You're out of here, buddy."
Once there was outcry, I guess.
Yeah. I feel like adults in a position of power at any level having fits of rage that lead to any level of physical harm towards a minor, you gotta go.
Yeah, don't be kicking objects at
Also,
kids.
why are you so angry about that? What's wrong with you? I'm sure we all had some high school coach or a coach at some level of sport.
Coaches get to yell at players. Like that's coaching.
Different.
It's coaching.
Yelling is it's not. It doesn't have to be coaching, right? You can do it Steve Kerr and Phil Jackson style and be a little bit more zen, but
Yeah, I'm sure that works on. I don't know what. I'm not going to sit here and judge what does and doesn't work on 15-year-old athletes.
All right, kicking a ball in a kid's nuts is not a form of coaching.
That's where you draw the line.
That's out of control.
For sure.
He gave a quote. "I kicked the ball, and it hit him in the groin area, and instantly I felt like I was going to pass out," Brubaker told Eyewitness News. "I feel obviously a great deal of remorse for what happened. It was a 1 in a million shot."
You getting choked up about it?
It just brings me back to my high school days. I miss Coach Krotz kicking me in my nuts.
I could believe that. I could believe that the moment it happened, he was like, "Oh God, like what have I done?"
Because he saw the kid grab his package and then fall over.
Oh. Yeah, that's a good submission. Alex wins.
All right, well done, Alex. He gets the tickets. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone. Summertime is way less fun when your AC is out and then thinking you'll be waiting for hours and hours to hear when someone can come and fix your problem. That's not true with Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. When you book online, you'll find they will send you a photo of the tech that's been assigned to your project and a link to track them in real time so you don't waste your time waiting around. You know you're going to be surrounded by cool air coming from your repaired AC unit on time in a reasonable fashion. And when the next worry is, how much is this going to cost me? You have Hiller to the rescue again. The price Hiller quotes you is the price you'll actually pay. They are the most trustworthy plumbing, heating, cooling, and electrical company around, and it's obvious. After 35 years in business, they're the real experts. Professional, experienced, and trustworthy. As Hiller says, 100% satisfaction guaranteed of happy you'll be, or the service is free. That's the Happy Hiller promise. So call Happy Hiller or book online today at happyhiller.com. Welcome back to the show. Fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. And today, and for all time, by Dolly Parton, who we are doing our very, 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 very small part in remembering today. We talked about a lot of the stories that we were reading and seeing yesterday in the wake of her passing. And obviously, on the FM side of things, if you're listening with us on FM radio today, we are playing Dolly Parton music to bring us back from commercial break. 615-737-1045, the number, if you want to get involved. So at some point, maybe closer to the game, the Titans just announced a promotion. For your reference, if you were thinking about going to the game against the Jets.
Get some Hattie B's hot chicken while you're there.
It's the highlight of the Nissan Stadium experience, I would say. The fact that the Hattie B's is that accessible and not outrageously priced. Like, it's cheaper than the stadium food.
Well, I think the folks at Hattie B's are hoping that that's not the case this year, that the football is the highlight and you are there to enjoy Hattie B's as well.
Yes, for sure. So the Titans just posted this about 32 minutes ago. We want you to be there to celebrate Chris Johnson and help ALS research. 2,000 tickets for $28 each to the Titans home opener against the Jets, with $5 per ticket going towards the Vanderbilt ALS Research Center in honor of CJ 2K. So they've just announced this promotion. It does say that all of these tickets, there is a little parentheses on the, or asterisk on the graphic that says all of the $28 tickets will be in the 300s. Essentially in the top tier, which is to be expected, I guess. So that's something that if you're thinking about going to the Jets game, I'm not telling you to go to the Jets game one way or the other, but obviously the Chris Johnson element of it is going to be, I'm not going to say more important than the football game, I guess, but it is more important than the football game. The fact that he's going to the Ring of Honor, the fact that they're doing this while,
CJ and his story is more important than football.
I haven't asked. I wonder if he's going to be there. I don't know how easy it is for him to travel.
Halftime, right?
I believe that's correct. I'll double check for you. We don't have the game release yet, but I'm sure they've made that announcement at least. So they are doing a promotion to that effect. Somebody says that's cheaper than a beer. Well, we could talk about that closer to the actual game. I was listening to Pate's podcast yesterday, but I think it was the Sunday episode, Lucas. And Josh Pate's podcast is Josh Pate's College Football Show. You know Josh Pate, of course, for his work in the world of college football, regularly appears with us, now frequently on ESPN. He has a new show with Taylor Lewan and Will Compton on ESPN on Fridays, I think, Friday afternoons. So happy for him. Pate was doing his show, and I was listening, just in preparation of the college football season. And he essentially did like a mailbag episode, Lucas, where he's taking submissions. I don't know if they're just social media. I don't know if they're email, but he's taking submissions from the audience in terms of questions, because he doesn't have callers like we do. And it was another question about the state of college athletics and all the different players who have been on NFL rosters who have attempted to go back into college football based on a temporary restraining order that's been granted to them that allows them to do just that and pursue additional eligibility. And Pate, as a part of his analysis, added just as an aside, maybe this becomes a big enough problem for everybody that the NFL feels compelled to get involved. Now, I ask you as a college football fan, as I'm not going to denigrate Robert's college football fandom, but I will designate you the biggest college football fan of the three of us. Does the NFL, the idea of it, because there is no reason to believe that the NFL would get involved, but if the NFL were to get involved, would that be, I think, more beneficial than perhaps federal involvement in collegiate athletics? A known sports entity giving you some level of guidance as to how to put the guardrails on this thing properly, as opposed to people who will use it for political posturing? Because this whole Save Sports Act thing is nonsense. I mean, you remember that big panel they did at the White House, and Saban's there, and I think like Kirk Herbstreit and Urban Meyer are there, and a number of different college athletics personalities. How many players were at this summit? How many active players in college football? I think there might have been one.
Yeah, maybe one or two.
Right? So it's not real, because the actual people who need to be properly represented are not in fact being represented. It's the governing parties over them trying to figure out, all right, how do we do this around the kids? Is NFL intervention something that you would at some point be interested in if this gets out of hand?
Oh, it's out of hand. I think we're past that point.
But we have no signs that it is going to become more in hand anytime soon.
Nope.
You would agree?
Josh, I believe, was talking about this in regards to players just bouncing back from NFL training camps to play for Ole Miss and LSU and whoever. And the way he phrased it was, if the NFL could just lift a hand, like lift a finger off the table to prevent something like this from happening, and then the SEC and Big Ten basically took care of that. And we'll see if the ACC and Big 12 follow suit. But I would take anybody at this point. Yeah, but what does that look like?
I have no idea.
No idea.
No earthly idea. There would have to be some level of, there would also have to be a similar like commission, right? With people who kind of bridge that gap between the college game and the NFL game. I don't know who's on that panel. I don't know if you bring in former NFL PA people who can advise college athletics in that kind of a role, like DeMaurice Smith. Is DeMaurice Smith available to consult on college sports collective bargaining as somebody who has negotiated on behalf of the NFLPA? I don't know how feasible that idea is, but that's just like the first place that my brain takes me, understanding that there would be a million different layers to it, and none of it is going to be simple, right? It will all be convoluted. But Pate's point, I think, in the middle of this would be, does it become enough of a pain in the ass in the NFL that the NFL is looking around and be like, all right, am I going to have to come in? Am I going to have to turn this car around? Because the NFL has inherently benefited from college football, its entire existence. Free minor league for the NFL to be able to create North America's most powerful sport.
Yeah, that would be it, right? The NFL stepping in, using its expertise on the matter, on collective bargaining and managing an actual professional football organization to help, I guess, formalize a proper minor league. But at that point, is the NFL just throwing college football a bone, or is the NFL stepping in and saying, okay, we'll just run this? And if you want to rise from college ball to the NFL, you have to operate under these rules. Feels like we'd be pretty far from that as well. Like that, Roger Goodell is, because the thing is, it's not, how is it hurting the NFL right now? Like college football is a mess, but best players are still getting into the league, right? Like talent is not an issue, a concern right now.
I saw Todd Monken do a press conference where he was like, yeah, I didn't know what was going on. And then all of a sudden Lane Kiffin's calling me.
Yeah. Sean McVay said, he said, I felt like I took a gummy when I saw news that guys are suddenly dropping back down to college.
All-time quote.
Yeah. So, but
I don't know that I don't know the circumstances in which it would become a problem unless the NFL wanted to keep the player. Like if it was a situation where it's not just like your seventh string tight end who has the opportunity to go start again at Ole Miss versus not making the roster and ending up in the CFL, right? If it's a player that the league wants to keep and the player is trying to get out for whatever reason, I don't know what circumstances would have to befall that to truly rankle the NFL in a way that they would feel the need to come down and, try and clean up the mess. And even then, I don't know that, Lucas, I don't know that they can. What are college athletics just going to cede power to another?
None of us are smart enough to have this discussion on how it could actually work.
But I don't think you have to be that smart to
We're just
understand that
scrambling.
it is impossible.
We're just grasping for straws at this point.
But so are they. The smart people, the alleged smart people, are doing basically a maybe more polished version of what you and I are doing down here and what everybody else is doing down here. Pate's probably the one having the smartest conversations among us.
No, but I listen to Josh frequently, right? And he is a college football fan as much as anything. And Josh typically with this stuff just wants the football. Like I genuinely believe Josh hates talking about this stuff. He's sick of talking about this stuff, and he just wants the football, which is where so many of us are. Like, all right, all this crap is happening. I guess we have to look past it, but we just want the football.
Yeah, but I think, and when we mentioned this yesterday, that inherently is a problem, right?
Of course it is.
Because you're willing to overlook everything else to just get the football, and that's kind of what these people are counting on. 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to jump in. We're going to dip into college football with Adam Sparks at 12:20 today. He is on the show. Obviously, Tennessee having named a starting quarterback. There will be some additional conversations to have there. Some NFL news that's worth getting to coming up next. Welcome back to the show. Fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. The best hot chicken in the world. If Dolly Parton was a Hattie B's heat level. Robert, this feels like your area of expertise. Don't get sexist.
I got nothing.
Just scared. Ran away from the microphone.
We could do a whole segment on songs Dolly covered. Because I had no idea that the song Harper Valley PTA was a cover. Did y'all know that song?
No, I don't think so.
I love that one. It just tells a story. Okay, I did not know that was a Jeannie C. Riley hit back in the day that Dolly covered.
No, Jeannie Riley's isn't she the longtime, she also recently passed away. She's a longtime host at the Opry. Like she used to host the Grand Ole Opry, or am I thinking, that's Jeannie Seeley. I'm sorry.
Harper Valley PTA was a Jeannie C. I did not know that.
The number of cover songs, videos of cover songs from Robert mentioned her 106 in Park appearance where she's rapping with Queen Latifah, or there is Miley Cyrus did like a New Year's Eve broadcast, like a rockin' New Year's Eve, but it was Miley Cyrus.
Came out and did Wrecking Ball with her?
Yes.
Yeah.
The Wrecking Ball rendition with Miley and Dolly, because it transitions from Wrecking Ball into I Will Always Love You, and it's just jaw-dropping. Her Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction, where she's singing Jolene with Pink, and I want to say Led Zeppelin, and a couple of other major big-time acts. Like you said, we could have done 3 hours of Dolly Parton today. And the audience would probably be okay with that.
She's back with Carl Dean now.
Her husband of 60 years?
Yes, passed away a little over a year ago.
What kind of stud must that guy be? Good on that guy. Not good on Tua. Have you seen this, Ian Rappaport? Do you have the clip, Robert? I think I sent it to the chat at your convenience. If it's not there, it's okay. I can just read it. But Tua Tagovailoa in Atlanta, not going real well. Lucas, I remember being surprised that, and again, I understand it was a money situation, and so maybe they had no choice. But it made no sense to me to get rid of Kirk Cousins if you're Atlanta, given that your other option is Michael Penix, who fragile and recovering is the way that I would describe him. He is a physically fragile player, I would say, and again has torn, I think it's his third ACL tear, if I'm not mistaken. He's making jokes at press conferences saying that his most recent repair, his doctor's telling him this is the best ACL he's ever seen. You'll never have to have another ACL repair surgery again, and kind of saying it a little bit tongue-in-cheek. But when Atlanta moved on from Kirk, I was like, financially okay, but you don't have a viable quarterback option. And then the quarterback option that they decided to pair with Kevin Stefanski, of which I'm sure he had some input, right? As the first-year coach in Atlanta, is go get me Tua Tagovailoa. He has been dreadful. The reporting out of Atlanta, we played that clip of that Colts reporter from their joint practices the other day saying, talking about Daniel Jones not letting a pass hit the ground and just on the opposite side of the field going, Tua, just awful, objectively the worst I've seen. You've seen the clips of him just melting down in preseason games. Robert, I'm sorry, you had something?
I just think part of it was how cheap he was. Like, they needed someone to back up Penix who had starting caliber experience.
1 year, $1.2 million.
The minimum.
Because he was making so much money off the dead cap or the dead cut from Miami.
Same as when the Steelers got Russ, right? Same as the Vikings, what they're doing with Kyler.
But was Russ ever as bad in Denver as Tua was last year? Because Tua was being helped significantly by Mike McDaniel and a rushing offense that was doing a lot of heavy lifting at the end of the year.
I feel like Russell was worse because the biggest thing about Tua was his unavailability and the shakiness of, can we put him back there knowing he's one head injury away from being head wound to Harry. Russell was just bad.
That first year in Denver, he was horrendous.
Yep.
It was brutal. What were his numbers? That first year in Denver, Russ, 15 games, completed 60.5% of his passes, 3,524 yards, 16 touchdowns, 11 picks. Tua last season, 14 games, 67.7% completion percentage, 2,600 yards, 20 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. So threw more picks, was a little more efficient, less yardage. They were both bad.
And when did
he threw a few more? He threw a pick.
He's standing in the doorway of his parents' bedroom. I threw up. I threw up. When did Tyreek Hill get hurt too? So he didn't really have like
right?
he didn't really have like the weapon he had.
Well, the thing, if I'm a Falcons fan, the way I'm reading this, so Evan Sidery, Rap Sheet reported.
Ian Rappaport went on television and was talking about this the other day. He was then aggregated.
Yes, he was aggregated in his report that Michael Penix is now the favorite over Tua to be named the Falcons starting quarterback, that Tua's poor performance in preseason and practices has made it, quote, impossible to name him Atlanta's QB1 right now. If I'm a Falcons fan, I read that and say, I'd love to be reading Michael Penix wins quarterback job, not Michael Penix likely to be starter because it would be impossible to play Tua. That's not exactly a vote of confidence in Michael Penix, is it?
Could he get cut? I mean, he's not making any money.
And they love, who is it, Jack Strand, former Notre Dame quarterback?
I mean, if you're talking about impossible to play this player, that you just have to go with Penix on a bad wheel because this other guy is malfunctioning, it sounds like.
Also, really inside baseball. You think you're going to need this Rap Sheet clip? I wish we could play it on stream because did you guys watch? I watch anything Rap puts out because he is the insider, right?
Well, him and Schefter.
Well, now Pelissero, they're having to cut some of those strikes down. Didn't Pelissero get a clip before all of them did the other day?
Pelissero got a contract recently.
Netflix.
All of Rap Sheet's hits.
He reported on a contract, but he is at Netflix now, yeah.
All of Rap Sheet's hits are coming from this empty room. He is in a room where there is nothing on the wall, no signage,
not in his
straight white walls.
I think he's on vacation.
Did he get cleaned out? Well, then put the beach in the background. Don't just go to the throwaway room and make
he's got a really like
it is just a
shirt on
blank wall.
Wait till they go to his one shot. He is in a room. You can see the door. He's in the no corner.
He's literally in an empty room, no furniture.
Is he getting cleaned out right now? Are they going through a messy divorce? Did he have to go live with his parents? Like, I want to know why Rap Sheet. Everyone, this is
and his camera quality is still 10 times better than Schefter's.
And that's where I was going. Why is it that our insiders can't have good backdrops? Throw up a green screen.
That's hilarious.
Schefter's putting out clips. He's the most followed NFL insider, and the dude looks like he recorded this video on a potato. Anyway.
I love that they're just splitting scoops now. Gentry Estes pointed this out to me the other day, now that they both work for the same company, Rap Sheet and Adam Schefter. One will report the break, as opposed to them both being within 5 seconds or 3 seconds of one another. One will report the break, and the other one will retweet it, or retweet the team's announcement, and then vice versa. So, all right, Rap, you can have the Devin Witherspoon contract. Schefter, you get Deshaun Watson getting the start.
Is it even reporting? Like, it's just announcing.
No,
it's announcing.
We have so convoluted the word reporting that now it just means transaction. Like, transaction information that helps me with my fantasy has now become reporting when it's not. You're not learning anything other than that. 615-737-1045, the number. The final hour, Adam Sparks, and some Titans talk coming up next.
12:02. Good afternoon from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Lucas Panzika. Titans training camp wraps up this week. Tomorrow with joint practice against the Chicago Bears. We'll be out there broadcasting live from Vanderbilt Health Football Center. The preseason finale coming up on Saturday. In college football news, the SEC has joined the Big Ten in putting its foot down against professional athletes trying to return to college football. The SEC giving Greg Sankey unanimously the authority to enforce the rule with penalties, and the penalties include the head coach being suspended for 50% of the college football season, as well as 50% of that program's budget for that particular year, and revoking voting rights for SEC coaches in SEC meetings. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Welcome back to the show. Fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. We've been listening to Dolly Parton all day long. Dolly originals, Dolly covers, little night moves with Bob Seger.
No, is that her with Chris Stapleton?
Is it Stapleton or Seger?
It's not Seeger. It's Chris Stapleton.
Oh,
this is
okay.
from her Rockstar cover album.
Oh, nice.
But the song is Seger, right?
Yeah, yeah, of course. But that's Stapleton with her.
Man, even when she got older, it still sounded good. Like the range.
Yeah. She knew how to like sing within herself, even at the age of 78, 79.
Because we're going to talk some. We've been mixing a little bit more sports in here today, but obviously we spent a good deal talking about Dolly. What's the last show you went to? You go to a lot of, I think, quality acts as far as concerts go. Have you been to a show where you came away saying, that was more performative than it was you actually singing the songs and getting in? Like, that felt a little manufactured as opposed to an artist getting out there and doing the thing organically. You know what I mean?
I hate to say it because I think he's a really talented artist, but Keith Urban.
Okay.
But that's also kind of just like pop country music.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's just what it is. Like they play it exactly as it sounds on the record and they give people what they want. But I was just like, just come on, give me something, Keith. Like, I know you got more in there. I know the guitar solo could be longer than like 8 seconds of the same riff we hear on every country song. But yeah, so that's probably it for me.
Right. But like that's one of those things. And I don't know if it's a generational thing. I don't think I've ever sounded older than I do right now. But I think when I think of like people giving their all in every performance, I think of Dolly Parton and I think of Bruce Springsteen, even at an advanced age, where those two, I mean, you feel like they go out there every time and they just empty the tank. Like they just empty the tank, and still, because they are such overwhelming personalities and, actual aura, not uniform football posts about aura, right? But just a larger than life, almost supernatural presence. You never hear people coming away from those kind of shows wanting for more, because you feel that you got everything from that performer, even when they have done that act or that song or that set 7 million times before. That's the best.
Yeah. I'll always wish I saw a Dolly show, but I'm just glad I got to see her one time. Just one time.
And that was at the Tennessee game?
The Tennessee game, yeah.
Man, that's tough to beat, though. Dolly walking out with Peyton at a Tennessee game, that's pretty good.
Yeah, we got waxed that day. It was such a beatdown.
That was what, 23?
Yeah, 23. He was like 30. That was the game where Jalen Wright on play number 1 broke it for 75 yards. Nealand that was Robert's first. He talks about that play all the time. That was his first introduction to Nealand. And then Georgia scored like 38 unanswered.
Not ideal. So Titans have practice with the Bears tomorrow, one joint practice, and then they will have the preseason game on Saturday, and then mercifully the preseason game will be done. Now, from the, Friday practice that we saw versus the Sunday night game, Lucas, did you feel like you saw sufficient carryover from a quality day that they felt like they put on the field in practice versus Seattle versus the 3 series that they produced against the backups of Seattle?
Definitely not on defense. Like, it was concerning. The defensive performance for them to kind of get run through by Seahawks backups in the game itself was concerning because the defense, and we, granted, paid more attention to the offense, the Titans offense in that joint practice. It's where we had a better angle. But from everything we looked at, and by all accounts, the defense had a pretty solid day against the Seahawks.
Jeff came up there talking about belt to ass.
Yeah, Sam Darnold had some really complimentary things to say about the Titans defense after that practice, but man, it did not translate in the game. I think there's some level of overreaction to Cam's performance in the preseason game. He wasn't good, but also he didn't have that many instances where he's pushing the ball down the field. Like, again, the whole thing we've talked about with Cam is master the mundane, do the boring stuff. And that's mostly what they did in that joint practice, which is part of why we said, yeah, solid day, other than the pick 6, obviously.
C-plus day.
Yeah. And so that carried over into the game where, like, yeah, the offense was not lighting it up, but Cam wasn't really being asked to do that much. And there's really only 1 or 2 throws that you thought, oh, Cam, you got to do better there. The ball security was an issue, for sure, but I do think there was some slight overreaction to that. Now, yesterday, the quarterbacks did not perform well. The offenses did not perform well.
Cam had 2 picks. Yeah. Every quarterback had at least a pick. Brian Dable spoke to the media yesterday. We played a portion of it for you on the radio show, but I want you to hear this answer again, specifically about Cam Ward and the downfield passing game that has just been non-existent.
And this was before practice yesterday.
Before practice yesterday.
Those 15 to 20, 25-yard plays, there's not a lot of teams that just throw the ball 35-plus down the field. I think Seattle was somewhere around the top, and they were 8 of 15 last year, and the amount of times they did it. The intermediate chunk plays, whether that's layered throws, man-to-man throws, that's encompassing everybody. So it's the receiver. It's incumbent upon the receiver to take proper angles. It's incumbent upon the protection, and then ultimately Cam hitting the plays. But that's just not on Cam. Certainly not on Cam, all of it. It's a combination of things, and we've been working on it. We'll continue to work on it. That's part of the execution stuff that, we're going to continue to grind away at. But that's an element of our offense that we got to improve.
Okay, so that's Brian Dable just simply being like, hey, everybody across the board's got to execute better. So that's Tate on the incompletion. That's Helm on the catch that he should have been able to get his feet down for. And it's Cam, right? Because Cam's not been perfect by any stretch of the imagination either. The reason why it is, I think, just a tick above concerning, Lucas, and I'm saying just a tick. I'm not saying DEFCON 1. I'm not saying, hit the panic button, code red, all these different things. He is playing a lot more than any quarterback that's not in an active competition in the preseason.
Yeah, how many series did he get again against Seattle? I think he got 3 against San Francisco.
He's had 6 total.
Yeah.
So they've given him 3 in each. We haven't asked Saleh what it's going to be against Chicago. Fair to expect he'll get 3 again. But he's playing a lot more than all of these other obvious starting quarterbacks or unencumbered starting quarterbacks. And you're seeing, again, it's a sample size of 6 drives. But it's not improved enough in what is vanilla and routine for you to come away saying that was a quarterback that executed well. He has not executed well at any point under the lights when he can get hit. To date. Maybe he goes out there against Chicago and he lights it up and it's a nothing burger, right? After that. But you need, we would agree, you need to see that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like we talked about. If he was 6 series, none of those 6 series against first-team defenses in the preseason games, 1 touchdown out of those series on a drive where they mostly just ran the ball down Niners' backups'
And
throats.
the touchdown was a Pollard run.
Yes. But if we were to change that, and let's say, hypothetically, it was 6 series, and they scored 4 touchdowns, and Cam Ward was extremely efficient, and 2 or 3 of those touchdowns were Cam Ward dots or seeds, as he says, this fan base would be ecstatic, right? Like, everybody would be incredibly encouraged. Man, Cam looks good. He looks sharp. And it wouldn't determine anything. It would mean 0 for the regular season in terms of what we know.
Other than the quarterback, you can trust him to execute.
But it would be encouraging.
Yes.
But it's been on the other side of that. So, yeah, it's fair to say discouraging. You know, I don't think you get to say, you don't get to look at good performances in the preseason and say, oh, that's really encouraging. That's a good sign. And then on the other hand, see poor performances in the preseason and say, oh, but it doesn't matter. We can't take, it's not a bad sign. We can't take, like, no, if you're going to think that it's a good sign that they're performing well, then it's a bad sign that they're performing poorly. And neither of them mean anything. We don't know anything in either scenario.
Well, other than, again, his tendencies, right? Because we are seeing him in as close to a real game as humanly possible, try to play the quarterback position. What's the one thing that he's done in the games that you can't simulate in practice? If you had to pick one thing of all the things that Cam's done, good or bad, in 6 drives that simply cannot, will not be simulated in practice, what is it?
Like getting on the move and
ball security.
Getting hit, yeah.
Ball security, right? They can't swat at him
they can't
in practice.
Yep.
They can't chase him down and go for the ball. And he's out there, I'm not going to say he's floundering because it's not happening on every drop back, but in the 2 places where he's clearly in a situation that he could put the ball at risk, he has put the ball at risk with the intentional grounding and then the fumble. Because he can't do that in practice. They can't do that to him in practice. That is an important, that's a coaching moment specific to the preseason. Because you know Brian Dable, you can't see him because he's in the box and they don't have cameras on him. But Brian Dable's the type to, who's that Bills OC that crashed out in the box?
Oh, it was the guy who replaced Dable, right? Ken Dorsey.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
So Ken Dorsey just throwing his note cards and ripping up his papers and throwing his headset. Like, Dable's probably having that moment in the box and then coming back after the fact and be like, hey, you haven't done this in practice because you can't. You can't do this in a game. Here's why.
Zach Kroll back here just sent us this Warren Sharp tweet. So we've talked, Cam's not really pushing the ball down the field in these preseason games. Yeah. But when he is, he's got 25 dropbacks in the preseason. He's had 6 attempts of more than 7 air yards, and he's 0 for 6 on those attempts. So we're seeing him do some of the simple stuff, which is great. Love to see a little check down to Tony Pollard that goes 20, 30 yards or whatever. But I would like to see a sample size, like one sample size of Cam legitimately pushing the ball down the field in one of these game settings. Doesn't mean a ton, but if you're a Titans fan, it is something you would like to see.
Well, wait, did you read the second part of this tweet?
No.
Okay, well, this is why it matters. So Lucas read the first part. Cam Ward has 25 dropbacks this preseason, 0 completions longer than 7 air yards, 0 of 6, 0% on passes longer than 7 air yards. Last year, so here's the context. In the regular season, Ward ranked dead last in completion rate on passes longer than 7 yards. Now, you can say, well, he's running for his life back there because his offensive line's bad. True. He's also running because he runs to throw and he creates his own pressure. So in situations where a normal quarterback might be able to put, and I'm not saying that he's abnormal or I don't know what he is yet. I think there's such a hurry up and wait situation to figure out what the hell he is that people are not willing to in real time learn what he is. You would agree?
Sure.
That we're still trying to get a firm grasp. What is your lasagna here?
Zach's here. Go to break.
I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. Adam Sparks, Knoxville News Sentinel, kind enough to join us. What's the mood in East Tennessee today? I imagine it's reflective of the rest of the world in a little bit of mourning, a little bit of celebration of the life of Dolly Parton, but I imagine just ratchet up the intensity of what everybody else is feeling today.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's sort of sharing their Dolly stories, and so many people around here have them. You know, the time you saw Dolly at the Children's Hospital, or when she would run through unannounced at Dollywood, contributions she'd make to schools, the reading program, all that. Kind of everybody has a Dolly story. My grandparents lived in Mount Juliet, and my grandfather was a minor musician, country musician, back in the day, many, many decades ago when he was younger. And I remember growing up, he would tell me of musicians that had worked with Dolly, so he kind of knew over secondhand. And he was older, obviously, so he would always refer to Dolly in the way that his friends would refer to her, which was like a young girl, like a teenage girl or a 20-something from the Porter Wagner show. And so even growing up, when I would hear my grandfather tell stories and just within it refer to Dolly Parton, even though she was, in her 60s at the time, he would still talk about her as if, she was the young upstart. So that's sort of my Dolly memory.
Yeah. No, to your point, everybody's got one, and I know it's particularly visceral in East Tennessee today. Adam, starting quarterback named. How much of a competition was it from your perspective and from the people that you talked to around the situation between McIntyre and Brandon?
It was definitely a close competition in the spring. It was pretty close in the summer. I'll say the face on Brandon sort of pretty savvy in how he played the game in the summer. I mean, he didn't leave. He didn't leave Knoxville, didn't leave campus from when he enrolled here in January till now. He would have his parents come from North Carolina to visit him, but he would not go home. And does that make any difference if he had gone home for a weekend or something in the competition? In the grand scheme of things, probably not. But there almost seemed to be like a symbolic move in there, just letting the coaches that no matter what, I'm not going home. That's how much this means to me. This is my full-time job. I'm going to be in the facility more than anybody else, including the coaches. And so I give him a little credit of sort of knowing how to play the game there. There are a lot of stories of Peyton Manning back in the day of, sneaking into the facility and making sure he found any edge that he could just to communicate to the coaches that this matters to me. Not that it mattered any less to George McIntyre, but I thought Faison made a little bit of a move in the summer there. And then in camp, it was pretty close early on. I'll give George credit that from everything that I've heard behind the scenes is that he was better in fall camp than he was in the spring. And so he made it a pretty good competition in how he challenged Faison Brandon, which made Faison have to play even better in camp to get a little bit of separation. I'd say through the first scrimmage, Faison took the lead if he didn't have it already. And then it was more of confirming things in the second scrimmage. Faison, I think, probably, from everything that I've heard, actually got more opportunities to show what he could do in the second scrimmage. And on one hand, you could say, well, that's not fair. If it's a competition, you're supposed to give them, even chances. But I do think that it was at least privately sort of his to lose by the time you got to the second scrimmage. So he had more opportunities to throw the ball deep, had more opportunities to show his legs, and they saw enough out of that second scrimmage to think that he's the guy.
Adam, I imagine the key to that for Faison or for Peyton those years ago is to sneak into the facility, but make sure you're seen, right? Make sure you're caught. Maybe I'd drop, a mug of coffee and get a coach to turn around like, oh, sorry, coach, I'm just here getting some extra work in.
Yeah, I mean, you do hear people in the facility that would say, I came in and there was only one light on, and it was, you hear these stories way back in the day, but you hear them now too, that there's one light on in the facility. Oh, look, it's Faison. Everybody's going home. Why is that door open? It's Faison. And so, those things tend to add up. And, I'll say it's also a little different between Faison and George in that, remember when George got here January of 25, Nico was still here. So the starter was supposed to be solidified for like the next couple of years. And then, all that happens, and then Joey Aguilar is here, and George can say, well, it's going to be Joey Aguilar. And it was going to be. When Faison got here, and he made the point of it yesterday, he said once they didn't get anybody in the portal in January, and once that Joey Aguilar lost his court case, I think that was late February, it was sort of game on at that point. So the two quarterbacks, even though they came in, sort of both highly touted, Faison saw the door wide open and he went through it. George kind of went through a period where he didn't know that the job was up for grabs. So it's a little different, but give Faison credit for seeing that opportunity and seizing it in any way that he could, even behind the scenes.
So you've covered Vanderbilt football for a long time. Obviously, they had a quarterback battle themselves. Just announced Blaise Berlowitz as the starter, but there's like this asterisk in the report that, Jared Curtis is going to play in week 1. And there's just like this feeling of when and not if, and maybe that's totally unfair to Blaise Berlowitz. Do you get any shred of that feeling with this situation, with Faison and McIntyre? Like, what would have to happen for McIntyre to Hendon Hooker this thing back when Joe Milton was named the starter?
Well, so I'm going to take a minor victory lap with some of my sports writer buddies. I had been saying this privately for the last month that Jared Curtis was not going to start the opener. So I have touched base with a few of those in the last 48 hours. See, I told you so. I had heard that Curtis was a little behind in that race, but he will play. That'll be his job in not too long. With George, yeah, I mean, Faison Brandon, Josh Heupel said that he's the week 1 starter. He needs to say that. I understand why he's making that statement. There's 2 parts to it. One of them, you want George engaged. You want George to think about, I can still get this job back. There may be still an opportunity here. And George mentioned that when I asked him back at the beginning of camp, when I asked him about the competition, and he even referenced back then, this is a month ago, referenced the history of, well, it's kind of gone different ways. There was that one year when Joe Milton got it, and then Hendon got it a few games later. So you could see the coaches were already conditioning him and maybe both of them to know that the job is always open if you can take it, even during the season. So Josh Heupel needed to say that to keep George McIntyre engaged. But then the second part is Josh Heupel, again, knows reality, and he knows he got that wrong in 21. So, why paint yourself into a corner if you don't have to? So go ahead and say he's the week 1 starter, and we'll move on from there. Now, in reality, I think behind closed doors, they're saying Faison's the guy. It would take a whole lot for Faison to lose the job. I don't even know what it would take. Maybe, if he throws 3 picks in the Georgia Tech game in the first half, maybe you pull him then. I don't know what the circumstances would be, but they're going to allow him to go through growing pains. It's not going to be a short leash. He's the guy that they're going to go as far as they can with Faison Brandon.
Adam Sparks, Knoxville News Sentinel, here with us on 104.5 The Zone. So, as far as Faison Brandon goes, he's the first true freshman to start at quarterback for this program in 2 decades. The barrier for entry on that, we understand, no matter what level of high school football you're coming from, it's going to be difficult and he's not being dropped into SEC play, right? They have a little bit of leeway here, but the Georgia Tech game is significant and will ramp up things faster than your average college football program might at the onset in the Power Four. How patient do you think this fan base will be with him, even though it seems like most people are of the understanding, okay, this is to set him up for success in 27 when we continue to surround him with talent that will put us back in the playoff conversation?
Well, I would say the conversation about getting ready for 2027, I think any Tennessee fans that are saying that, celebrating that, I think that gives them a bad taste in their mouth. In the NIL era, you never talk about ramping up to next year. And anybody that lived through the Nico thing, you never want to say, hey, we're guaranteed to have so-and-so next season, because that's just not the case anymore. It's an individual decision, I think. I talk to Tennessee fans that say, hey, I'd love to have an 8-4 season, and then, yes, you get Faison back next year, and then you're a playoff team. 8-9 wins, that would be fine. Just, have a pretty good year. But I think most fans, if they see any success early on, they're gonna change. If they go and beat Georgia Tech by 2 touchdowns and Faison looks pretty good, the Tennessee fans will want a playoff bid this year, not next year. I will say I could be pleasantly surprised, but I don't expect Faison Brandon to be phenomenal, let's say, certainly in the first half of the season. I mean, even privately, behind closed doors, he's not been flawless. He's still thrown some interceptions. Josh Heupel hinted at it on Monday that they still have communication issues. They're still trying to figure out the protections. Faison Brandon is still trying to learn his way through that. I would say George is a little ahead of him in that, in understanding the pass protections, being able to work on the fly with those things. So it's going to be a work in progress. If Tennessee had an experienced transfer quarterback in, which they looked at back in January, if they had a guy like that in here now, I think he would have beat out both of these guys. So just keep that in mind. I think if you had like Joey Aguilar of last year come in, I think he would have won the starting job over Faison or George this year. So you're not getting a guy that is just a hands down, can't miss. He would beat out anybody in a competition. You're getting the guy that beat out another young guy who hasn't played, and people are going to have to understand that there's going to be some growing pains.
Adam Sparks with us of the Knoxville News Sentinel, and we'll see if Tennessee's offensive line, that should be a experienced and cohesive unit. Its run game, its wide receivers can support a young quarterback, and this defense, Adam, that needs to make a big leap from a dreadful 2025. Jim Knowles has had one of the best resumes in college football as a defensive coordinator, but traditionally his defenses, as I think we've talked about with you, have taken until that second year to really click and really be amongst the elite of college football. I look at this defense, though, and I see Penn State transfers at every level, with DeJuan Lane at safety, with Amari Campbell, with Xavier Gilliam on the defensive line. Could that be a reason, or am I just grasping for straws as to why the Jim Knowles defense could hit the ground running in 2026 rather than give it a year?
Yeah, I think that's the big question because, yes, they have said it publicly, they've said it privately, that they are ahead of schedule of what he's been before. Usually it takes a year. But does having Penn State assistants come with him and Penn State players come with him, does that cut out an entire year? In other words, does it click immediately in the Furman game and everybody knows the defense? Or maybe does this cut the season in half? Maybe instead of speeding up by a year, maybe they get it by mid-season. Maybe we're talking about the Alabama game. Finally, it clicks in October. I think that's the big question. And the other part of that is I don't know if we'll be able to tell because – if they're really good defensively against Furman, Georgia Tech, and Kennesaw State, does that mean that these guys have picked up the Jim Knowles defense, or it just means you play 2 inferior teams and a middle-of-the-pack ACC team? Probably the latter. And so I think we're probably not going to know until Texas and Auburn and Arkansas and Bama and those types of games. I do like the fact that he has a guy at every level that played in it last year, but I do think that only goes so far.
Why don't they just get Joey Aguilar back, Adam? Everybody else come back to college. Just get,
different judge.
Just get Joey back.
Find a different judge.
Well, hey, I think there's a little bit of that court part element into the Arion Carter decision yesterday, because there's a lot of lawyers for the NCAA that are going all around the country fighting a whole lot of lawsuits. And I don't think that a lawsuit was coming from Tennessee's side of Arion. I think they were playing it out behind the scenes to get that reduced. They were hoping it would be reduced from 2 games to 0 games. But I do think that move yesterday by the NCAA was saying, hey, guys, we only have so many attorneys on retainer, and we can't spare any. So let's knock a game off of this just to make sure there's no lawsuits coming out of Knoxville. Because they do know there's always the possibility that a lawsuit could come out of Knoxville. So, and they can look at the schedule as well as we can and say, I bet UT would at least be semi-satisfied if we let the guy play against Georgia Tech and just kept him out of the Furman game.
But you were reporting on this a ton. Was it just a dialogue that Tennessee continued with the NCAA, or was it Danny White, Josh Heupel speaking publicly about it, or was there a lot behind the scenes there?
It was both. They were pushing privately. I think there were a lot of stories and columns that were being forwarded to the NCAA. I mean, there's a lot of public outcry, and as backwards as the NCAA, as tone deaf as they tend to be sometimes with these things, I will say, at least partially in this instance, they could see the hypocrisy that was going on. I mean, it was the easiest, column to write in the world, which, dozens of people wrote it over the last week, to see the juxtaposition of the NFL players potentially playing in the SEC versus Arion Carter, $400 plane ticket being suspended, multiple games. They could even see that was a terrible, terrible contrast. And so they acted on it. I will say behind the scenes, and you saw it a little bit publicly, obviously in Danny White's tweet, but Tennessee was pretty ticked off that it was only reduced to one game. They thought it was going to be erased completely, and that yesterday the NCAA was going to call them and say, okay, fine, here's another little penalty we're going to give him, but he's not suspended anymore. They expected it would go to 0, and going to 1, they weren't happy about it.
It's just exceedingly stupid. And just the fact that you, as a journalist, Adam, have to spend any amount of time on this story, much less all of the different things that it's impacted for Arion Carter and his family and Tennessee and all. That's just ridiculous.
I will say it's a blessing in disguise a little bit. I understand the principle of it, but Arion Carter has had injury issues every year. He was going to play like 20 snaps against Furman. Holding him out of essentially a preseason game is probably better in the long run for Tennessee.
Yeah.
Buddy, we appreciate the time. Thank you as always.
All right, guys. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you.
Adam Sparks, KnoxNews.com is where you read them. We'll wrap it up. Coming up next. God, it gets me every time. It really feels sacrilegious to talk over this Dolly Parton song. I don't know what my favorite one is. I think it might be this one.
There's several. Like, she made so much music.
And wrote so much music for other hit acts, right? I mean, Whitney Houston is the one who brought this to its greatest heights, but Whitney Houston does not have that opportunity if, one, Dolly doesn't make, I don't know, one of the ballsiest decisions a person in that industry can make, which is to tell Elvis Presley, no, you can't cut my song.
Yeah. Yeah, at that
They're
time.
both from Tennessee. Elvis, maybe not.
He's Tennessee made, I would say.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Memphis made, for sure.
But not, I mean, maybe he's not at his greatest height when he wants to cut this song, but he's still Elvis.
So Dolly released 49 solo studio albums. The first one, Hello, I'm Dolly, in 1967. How many years ago was 1967?
Why don't you tell us, math boy?
Doing it in my head. Beep, boop, beep,
calculator.
50-something.
Oh, I'm going to say 59. Yeah, it's 59. 59. So that's almost, I want to be 49 divided by 59, carry the 1. That's 0.8 albums per year. Basically cranking out an album a year, all the way to 80.
You have something to say? Okay. So we'll wrap up for the day. Last call for phone calls, if you got them, 615-737-1045. It's our last day of Titans training camp tomorrow. It's not the last day of camp outright.
Is it not?
No, actually it is, I guess, the last day.
Yeah, it is, man. This is it.
And I guess I think of the preseason game as the last day of camp.
Sure.
But it's the last day of camp for the radio audience.
Last day of practice, right? I mean, Saturday's the day before a game.
Yeah, and so they will obviously have a bye week, and then the ramp up to week 1, and then the Jets game. How are we feeling about this Jets game? Are we thinking about the Jets game yet? Or is it more... Are they more? Where are the fans' attention right now? Is it on the team?
I think the Jets game might be ugly. That's what I think about the Jets game.
Oh, I mean, I've covered many ugly games in my life. That's fine. I don't care what it looks like. If I almost said, I don't care what it looks like as long as they win, which would indicate that I want them to win. I'm tired of them being a laughingstock, and I feel like beating the other laughingstock would improve, or at least just help them beat the allegations for another week. If they beat the Jets and lose to Philadelphia, nobody's going to wring their hands, right? If the Eagles come in here in week 2, and it looks about what you would expect an Eagles-Titans game to look like in their current iterations. But the Jets, they've got nothing going on. Plaxico Burress said playing for that organization was like his first day of prison, but every day. You can't lose to that. So I think there is a way for them out, of course, of all of this, right? It is the consistent, organic regeneration of the roster and putting better players in positions to succeed. At some point, just by percentage chance, that's going to happen. But it becomes a lot harder for you to beat the narrative if you do not beat the Jets.
Yeah, it would be, that Monday would be the worst, I think, the worst vibes day on the show. Maybe, is it a stretch to say since that Bengals playoff loss? Because that's peak. Like, post Bengals playoffs and post A.J. Brown traded.
But did you think it was over? Did you think it was over the Monday after for them?
Like the window?
Yeah. Did you think it was over after the Bengals lost? Because I genuinely did not. I thought it was a catastrophic loss. I did not think that they would be done.
No, I thought they were about to pay A.J. Brown. Derrick Henry was going to continue to play for this team. Yeah, no, I did not think that.
and yet it was over. The Jets Monday might feel worse, Lucas, only in the sense that they, at least I think, that the fan base thinks that they are coming up on the other side of this, just never-ending losing, right? And that to lose to the Jets would just be, it would not be a definitive, no, you're never getting out of this, but it would ramp up the intensity of that terrible feeling by a lot. I'm not going to make the case that it would be worse than losing to the Bengals.
Yeah.
Because that was...
No. Yeah, that'd be ridiculous.
Absurd. Everything. I laugh only because it is so ridiculous the way that played out. But the Jets, a theoretical loss to the Jets would be a catastrophe.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's putting it in too strong of terms. 615-737-1045 if you would like to participate. Brian is in Nashville up next. My button's not working.
Neither's mine.
Really? Let me try.
Hold, please, Brian.
That was not
How many times do I have to tell you to get rid of that thing?
It's not on purpose.
Get rid of that thing.
My button also is not working.
Okay, so we just not.
Sorry, Brian.
Okay.
I talked to him. I'll be Brian. Hey, guys, love the show. I think we should just start referring to the Titans-Jets game as the number one pick game. Love the show. Appreciate you guys.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, that's what he told me.
Excellent.
Brian, I'm sorry we can't get you on.
Sorry, Brian.
He passed it on.
Literally, the phones were working not 2 seconds ago.
Here, hold on. I'll get my mic close to it.
Yep.
And we are vigorously punching buttons.
Somebody, this has got it. Oh, just kidding. Yep, phones are down. Y'all's phones down?
Not yet.
Mine is.
Yeah, it's mine.
Okay,
All right.
mine is now.
Love you, bye. Oh, wait, my microphone's not working. I'm sweeping into insecurity and inevitability. Oh, no, I'm dying.
Shadows. Brian just said, okay, I'll hang up.
All right. Last practice of training camp tomorrow.
All right, phones are fixed.
But he's gone.
Yeah, he's gone. I had to hang up on him.
Can we be done?
No. You still got 2 minutes.
2?
I hope y'all will join us on NSC Backstage tonight, 7 to 9 p.m.
Just slide a plug in there.
Yeah. Aliyah Saad, new signing, going to join us. Gotten off to a really nice start.
Where'd he come from?
The winger on loan from Augsburg in Germany.
On loan?
On loan, yes.
So how long did they get him for?
Through the end of this season, and if I'm not mistaken off the top of my head, through the end of the 2027 sprint season, because MLS is doing basically a mini season in the spring of 27 before they get into their new calendar, which will be fall to spring, more like a European calendar.
Is it like a timeshare situation? If they like him, could they extend their stay?
Yes.
Would they have to pay more?
And then Chuck McDowell would have to get them out of the timeshare if it didn't go well.
Anybody that knows me knows that I have saved millions of Tennessee residents from their timeshare, and I have really cool tattoos.
Would y'all want this in American sports? Players, if they have young players that they like but aren't ready to play for them yet, can loan them to other clubs where they know they'll get playing time, they can develop faster, but they're still under contract with the parent club that loaned them out. So other clubs can literally borrow players.
Well, yeah, you would want to do with this with quarterbacks, right? You would want let somebody else, have the crash out years, the early years.
Yep, exactly. So we'll see. Aliyah Saad has made a case for Nashville to sign him, but he'll have to sustain it. We look forward to talking to him. I'm going to shut up now.
Love you too, darling.